Hey guys, Michael J. Crawford here, and welcome to day 27 of our 40-day fast. Today we're going to be reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 18, verses 19 through 38. The high priest questioned Jesus about his disciples and asked about his teaching. "I have spoken openly to the world," Jesus answered him. "I have always taught in the synagogue and in the temple complex where all the Jews congregate, and I haven't spoken anything in secret. Why do you question me? Question those who heard what I told them. Look, they know what I said." When he had said these things, one of the temple police standing by slapped Jesus, saying, "Is this the way you answer the high priest?" "If I have spoken wrongly," Jesus answered him, "give evidence about the wrong. But if rightly, why do you hit me?" Then Annas sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. Now Simon Peter was standing and warming himself. They said to him, "You aren't one of his disciples too, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not." One of the high priest's slaves, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, said, "Didn't I see you with him in the garden?" Peter then denied it again. Immediately, the rooster crowed. Then they took Jesus from Caiaphas to the governor's headquarters. It was early morning. They did not enter the headquarters themselves, otherwise they would be defiled and unable to eat the Passover. Then Pilate came out to them and said, "What charge do you bring against this man?" They answered him, "If this man weren't a criminal, we wouldn't have handed him over to you." So Pilate told them, "Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law." "It is not legal for us to put anyone to death," the Jews declared. They said this so that Jesus' words might be fulfilled, signifying what kind of death he was going to die. Then Pilate went back into the headquarters, summoned Jesus, and said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Are you asking this on your own, or have others told you about me?" "I am not a Jew, am I?" Pilate replied. "Your own nation and your chief priests handed you over to me. What have you done?" "My kingdom is not of this world," said Jesus. "If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight so that I wouldn't be handed over to the Jews. As it is, my kingdom does not have its origin here." "Are you a king then?" Pilate asked. "You say that I'm a king," Jesus replied. "I was born for this, and I have come into the world for this, to testify the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." "What is truth?" said Pilate. How do you deal with injustice? When power is abused, what is your instinctive reaction? Here Jesus stands before the Jewish leaders and Pontius Pilate, facing unjust trials and false accusations. Despite being bound and questioned, Jesus remains composed, fully aware that the authority held by those earthly rulers is under God's ultimate control. This idea is echoed in Romans 13:1, where Paul writes, "Let everyone submit to the governing authorities, since there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are instituted by God." Every ruler, judge, or leader holds their position because God allows it. Even in the midst of an unjust trial, Jesus knew that the events were unfolding according to God's plan. Though earthly authorities sometimes act unjustly, as in the case of Jesus' trial, we must trust that God is still sovereign. Pilate, with all his power, could only do what God permitted, and Jesus willingly submitted to the Father's plan, even when it led to his crucifixion. The greater purpose was God's redemptive work, which could only be accomplished through Jesus' suffering and sacrifice. We will encounter situations where those in authority seem unfair, unjust, or oppressive. Yet Romans 13 and John 18 reminds us that God's hand is always at work, even when we cannot see it. He establishes, sustains, and ultimately holds all rulers accountable. Our role is to trust in God's sovereignty, knowing that He uses even flawed human systems for His purpose. We are called to respect earthly authority while keeping our eyes fixed on God's eternal kingdom. Our ultimate allegiance is to Christ, the true King, whose rule is just and everlasting. Even in the face of injustice, we can trust that God is in control and will bring about His perfect will. Begin praying with Psalm 47, verses 7 and 8. Sing a song of wisdom, for God is King of the whole earth. God reigns over the nations. God is seated on His holy throne.